I know of no better life purpose than to perish in attempting the great and the impossible. The fear of death follows from the fear of life. A man who lives fully is prepared to die at any time. The art of dying is the art of living. The honesty and grace of the years of life that are ending is the real measure of how we die. It is not in the last weeks or days that we compose the message that will be remembered, but in all the decades that preceded them. Who has lived in dignity dies in dignity. We cannot banish dangers, but we can banish fears. We must not demean life by standing in awe of death. We're all going to die. All of us. What a circus. That alone should make us love each other, but it doesn't. We are terrorized and flattened by trivialities. We are eaten up by nothing. As a well-spent day brings happy sleep, so a life well used brings happy death. He who doesn't fear death dies only once. God made death so we know when to stop. A dying man needs to die, as a sleepy man needs to sleep. And there comes a time when it is wrong, as well as useless, to resist. Some people are so afraid to die that they never begin to live. We are all full of weakness and errors. Let us mutually pardon each other our follies. It is the first law of nature. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. After all, to the well-organized mind, death is but the next great adventure. Every word affords me pain, yet how sweet it would be if I could hear what the flowers have to say about death. I have offended God and mankind because my work did not reach the quality it should have. Death is beautiful when seen to be a law, and not an accident. It is as common as life. To die proudly when it is no longer possible to live proudly. Death of one's own free choice, death at the proper time, with a clear head, and with joyfulness, consummated in the midst of children and witnesses, so that an actual leave-taking is possible while he who is leaving is still there. Sadly enough, the most painful goodbyes are the ones that are left unsaid and never explained. Death may be the greatest of all human blessings. It is natural to die as to be born. No one can confidently say that he will still be living tomorrow. After your death, you will be what you were before your birth. No one here gets out alive. Nothing in life is promised except death. I want to be all used up when I die. The bitterest tears shed over graves are for words left unsaid and deeds left undone. We will all, someday, experience death and become obsolete. Death leaves a heartache no one can heal. Love leaves a memory no one can steal. Only a moment you stayed, but what an imprint your footprints have left in our hearts. Many people die at 25 and aren't buried until they are 75. We all die. The goal isn't to live forever. The goal is to create something that will. It matters not how a man dies, but how he lives. The act of dying is not of importance. It lasts so short a time. Death is no more than passing from one room into another. But there's a difference for me, you know, because in that other room, I shall be able to see. Helen Keller. Death is something inevitable. When a man has done what he considers to be his duty to his people and his country, he can rest in peace. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. The truth I have been seeking, this truth is death. Yet death is also a seeker, forever seeking me. So we have met at last, and I am prepared. I am at peace. To die will be an awfully big adventure. Our death is not an end if we can live on in our children and the younger generation, for they are us. Our bodies are only wilted leaves on the tree of life. I would rather die a meaningful death than to live a meaningless life. Death never takes a wise man by surprise. He is always ready to go. Dying is a troublesome business. There is pain to be suffered, and it wrings one's heart. But death is a splendid thing, a warfare accomplished, a beginning all over again, a triumph. You can always see that in their faces. How can the dead be truly dead when they still live in the souls of those who are left behind? Life is for living. Death is for the dead. Let life be like music, and death a note unsaid. Let life be beautiful like summer flowers, and death like autumn leaves. Birth and death are the most singular events we experience, and the contemplation of death, as of birth, should be a thing of beauty, not ignobility. Death is more universal than life. Everyone dies, but not everyone lives. Because life is fragile, and death inevitable, we must make the most of each day. Every man's life ends the same way. It is only the details of how he lived and how he died that distinguish one man from another. If being a kid is about learning how to live, then being a grown-up is about learning how to die. When someone we love dies, we get so busy mourning what died that we ignore what didn't. A dying man needs to die, as a sleepy man needs to sleep. And there comes a time when it is wrong, as well as useless, to resist. All that lives must die, passing through nature to eternity. Good men must die, but death cannot kill their names. Death is not extinguishing the light. It is only putting out the lamp because the dawn has come. The life of the dead is placed in the memory of the living. By becoming deeply aware of our mortality, we intensify our experience of every aspect of life. Every man dies. Not every man really lives. Death aims only once, but never misses. It's only when we truly know and understand that we have a limited time on earth, and that we have no way of knowing when our time is up, that we will begin to live each day to the fullest, as if it was the only one we had. Loss and possession, death and life are one. There falls no shadow where there shines no sun. It's not that I'm afraid to die. I just don't want to be there when it happens. When you've told someone that you've left them a legacy, the only decent thing to do is to die at once. I do not fear death. I had been dead for billions and billions of years before I was born. Life is pleasant. Death is peaceful. It's the transition that's troublesome. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Carve your name on hearts, not tombstones. A legacy is etched into the minds of others and the stories they share about you. I'm the one that's got to die when it's time for me to die, so let me live my life the way I want to. Unbeing dead isn't being alive. Even death has a heart. Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now, take what's left and live it properly. What doesn't transmit light creates its own darkness. That man lives badly who does not know how to die well. Given that all must die, it is better to die with distinction than to live long. What is death? A scary mask. Take it off. See, it doesn't bite. Eventually, body and soul will have to separate, just as they existed separately before we were born. You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire. No evil is honorable, but death is honorable. Therefore, death is not evil. Death is not evil. Death is not an evil. What is it then? The one law mankind has that is free of all discrimination. Choose to die well while you can. Wait too long, and it might become impossible to do so. You may leave this life at any moment. Have this possibility in your mind in all that you do, or say, or think. Before I became old, I tried to live well. Now that I am old, I shall try to die well. But dying well means dying gladly.